positions, Violet. Nope. There. Good morning, friends. It's Tracy and Violet from Tea Time with Tracy and Violet. It's a Thursday morning, 7:37 in the morning. Oh, my son's just gone to work. The kids don't have school today because it's parent-teacher, so they're still in bed. I'm up having a coffee. And I thought I'll talk about a book with you while I'm having my coffee. My usual coffee mug, the biggest cup in the house. And yeah, talk about a book that I read. Well, I've read multiple times, to be honest. It's A Hunger Like No Other. The last video I did about a Kresley Cole book was Warlord Wants Forever. And I had mentioned that Kresley Cole's coming out with another Immortal After Dark book. And I have a soft spot for that series. Years ago I started that series and fell arse first into that world, and yeah, love it. There's like 17 or 18 books. I've read them all. I've read several of them multiple times. Like, I have some favorites, I guess, but I love them all. Like, they're all good. This one I've read several times, A Hunger Like No Other. So I'll quickly read the back of it. A mystic warrior who will stop at nothing to possess her. After enduring years of torture from the vampire horde, Lachlan McCreeve, leader of the Lycan clan, is enraged to find his predestined mate. He's wanted a millennia is a vampire, or partly one. Emmeline is a small half Valkyrie, half vampire who somehow begins to soothe the fury burning within. Then a vampire captured her wildest fantasies. Sheltered Emmeline Troy finally sets out to uncover the truth about her deceased parents until a powerful Lycae claims her as his mate and forces her back into his ancestral Scottish castle. There, her fear of the Lycae and their notorious dark desires ebbs as he begins to slow wicked seduction to sate her own dark cravings. An all-consuming desire, yet when an ancient evil from her past resurfaces, will their desire deepen into love that can bring a proud warrior to his knees or turn gentle beauty into a fighter she was born to be. All right. I know it sounds like, what? But I'm telling you, this series, it's really good. It is. So Lachlan, when he said he's been chained for years, like a couple hundred years at least, down, I believe it's in the catacombs, like in France, down in a secret thing. He's chained, he's burned like hellfire, but he's immortal, so he always comes back to life, and he has to live this torturous life for years and years and years. He's been captured by this vampire horde. And yeah, Lachlan is like, I don't know, I forget now, 3,000 years old. Like, he's old, but he doesn't look old. That's the thing. The creatures in these books, when they get to their optimal point in life, that's when they freeze. So he might look like he's 35 or whatever the age is, but really he's 3,000 years old. Anyways, one day he's just burning away, and Lycae have extreme sense of smell, like they can smell and sense, that sort of thing. They're regarded in the lore as like the big beasts, boogeymans, like strongest creatures in the lore. But he has the strongest sense of smell, and one day he ends up biting his foot off or sawing somehow getting his foot off because he sensed his fated mate above, up on the road. That's where Emma walks in. Emma is on a destination to find out what happened. She wanted to find out who her father is. She knows that she's half vampire, half Valkyrie. She usually lives in New Orleans. That's where their base camp is. She lives in a coven of Valkyrie, and Valkyrie are very small. They almost look like little fae people, but they're extremely vicious. But the thing with Emma, she's not. She's very timid and very shy and very weak. She's only 70 years old, but she looks like she's 20, okay? So 70 years old in lore speak is baby. Like, she's very young. Anyways, this is the first trip she's ever been on her own, but she was destined to go find her father, and the Valkyrie weren't really supportive. They agreed as long as she checked in and followed the rules they had. Like, they love her. They're just overprotective of her. And they know her father is a vampire, but her mother, who died of a broken heart, never found out, like, never told anybody who her father was. So she was determined to go find who her father was. And her father being a vampire, vampires are bad, like bad. Red-eyed vampires, like the bad vampires. And apparently her father wasn't red-eyed when he was with his mother, or her mother. However, in order for them to go crazy and mean crazy vampire, they got to drink blood to the death. And they take visions and stuff, and they end up going crazy and mad. But anyway, she doesn't know who her father is, and she wants to find out who her father is. So she's staying up at the ritziest Ritz hotel, but she's just out walking on a road in France, busy, like Paris or something, and she hears this crashing and banging and things. She turns around, and in a distance she can see somebody, some huge person, tipping over tables and charging towards her, and she's like looking around like she doesn't know anybody. She doesn't know anybody, but this big monster of a man is charging towards her. So she's trying to get out of the way. She doesn't understand, like, he's actually charging for her. And then she starts to clue in, and she starts to run. And the thing with vampires and Valkyries, they're fast, but they're not as fast as Lycae. No. So she runs for a bit, and she ends up running to an airfield. So it's like a big field, but he just charges and tackles her, like football tackles her, really, to the ground. And it's raining, and it's muddy. And he's like 3 times the size of her, really. Well, not really, but he's humongous compared to her. She's really tiny, petite. And he's humongous, giant football, hockey player, like huge. He has long, shaggy, brown hair. He's extremely handsome, but he's been locked in this basement, so he's looking kind of rough. But she has no match for him. Like, he's the strongest, the biggest, the baddest sort of thing. And he's just like sniffing he's sticking his face all in her neck and smelling like, this is, you know, I've been looking for you forever. And his voice is all gravelly and crazy, like, obviously. And she's trying to squirm, but she can't. And when he sees little fangs, that's when he realizes she just thinks she's a vampire. Like, and Lycae and vampires are mortal enemies, like hardcore, the worst of the worst enemies. So he's flipping out, and she's scared for her life because he's threatening to kill her, but he can't kill her because it's his fated mate. Like, he's really conflicted because he's like, so he's not nice to her at all. And but Emma has really long blonde hair. She's beautiful. all Valkyries are. Really long hair. She has pointy ears, but her hair is down over, so he doesn't see that. And she doesn't offer up that information because that's not what they do. But he ends up, he's been locked down in that basement, not basement, but dungeon or whatever for so long. He doesn't know cars. He doesn't know TV. He doesn't know anything like that. So he pretty much grabs her by the scruff of the neck or whatever and says, "You're coming with me and take me to where you live." And the conversation's quite funny. I find Kresley Cole really has really good conversations in her books. Like, they're funny. Not all the time, but there's just a little element of, I don't know, not so much, well, a little bit of sarcasm. It's just, there's a little hint of something. I just love everything about it. And so she's trying to keep up with his big strides, because even though he's in rough shape, because he is probably stinking to all high hell, and she's just a wee little thing, she's trying to double step to try to keep up with him. And a car, he's just not looking for cars and stuff, and a car comes and slams, and he, like they are so strong, he just put his claws, like his things pop out like Wolverine, and shredded the car. And he's just like, he's an animal. Oh, Lachlan. But he sees where she's taking him, and it's the biggest, beautifulest, probably the most expensive hotel in Paris. So you can just imagine, Valkyrie are not poor. That's all I'll say. And that's where this story turns into a captor captive. Yeah. And he has been withdrawn for so long. Oh, just a minute. One of my kids are coming. I forget what I was saying, but yes. And he's just disgusted with her. Like, he tries to make up internally excuses. Oh, she's just disgusting. And really, she's just a tiny little beauty is what she is. And of course you have money. Of course you'd be staying here. Like, you know, vampires are always greedy bastards and stuff like that. And he's flabbergasted because there hasn't been a woman vampire for years. Like, they all died out that he was aware of. And of course his fated mate is the last vampire woman. Like, I'm going to use her to get back at, oh, for goodness sakes, I can't think of the lead vampire. Oh, I can't even think, and I've read this several times. Anyways, the person that locked him down into the dungeon, I'm going to use her however I want to use her to get back. That's just going to get at them, that I have their treasured lady vampire, the only one left in the lore, and she's mine, and I'm going to use her however. I don't care what she thinks, and that sort of thing. Of course, it's put a little different in there, but that's pretty much what it is. So they get to this hotel, and it's like the Ritz, and it's the very top, tippity top penthouse. And which is strange, because usually Emma, being a vampire, likes to be down low and under stuff. She doesn't even sleep in a bed. She sleeps like beside a bed or under a bed. But she wanted to be up high, just whatever. But he pretty much takes her, and there's some things, lines crossed in here. And when I read this the first time, like years ago, I was just like, oh, well, this is like my dabble into adult books, okay? This is where I first came in. I think that's why I have such a soft spot. And when I started this series, I didn't even start at the first book. And you don't really have to read all the books in order. You don't. Because each book is about a different couple. But there's crossovers, and they're not hugely important, but you just get more of a sense of the whole world. Anyways, I started with his brother's book, actually. But from there, from the hotel, he slowly convinces her that he needs to get back to Scotland because that's where his stronghold is, and get back to his people. He's the king. He's the king. And he's a very important Lycae that's been missing for a couple hundred years. But he doesn't know this new world. And if you help me get back there, I'll let you go. That's all you have to do is help me get you back there. And of course she's like, oh, okay, yeah, sure, I can do that. Believe me, it's not all just, oh, yeah, sure, I can do that. No, there's lines crossed, there's things pushed. She's put in predicaments that is, you know, non-consensual is what I will say. Lycae are totally touchy-feely beings. They love to wrestle. They love sex. They love roughhousing. They love all that stuff. So although he can't stand her, he can't let her go. And if he's having a shower, she's having a shower with him. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, she's like, well, yeah, I can help you. And then you promise you'll let me go. He lets her call like New Orleans to let her family know she's okay, because she's having her own internal battle in her mind. This is the first time my coven let me go somewheres, and I don't want to call them for help because of this. If he's just going to let me go when I get to when he gets to Scotland, I can handle this, and they don't need to know. So she calls and says that they're okay, and they're kind of making fun of her. Oh, who's the guy? Who's the guy? The Valkyrie are hilarious ladies, just so you know. Turns out he wants her to drive. She thought she could just get the map and show him how to get there, but so he pretty much makes her go, and there's turmoil that ensues. And I won't talk anymore about that, but the mission that she was initially on to find the vampire who is her father, and he's on a mission to get back to his people to hunt down this vampire that locked him up in the dungeon. And yeah. I'm going to recommend every single book of hers, and I just want to talk about it because I'm so excited. I'm so excited for the new one to come out in January. There hasn't been a book in this series since 2017, I think. So it's been a little while, and that's okay. That's okay. But so I'm rereading some of these books, and I would highly recommend. Now, these are, I don't think they're old. They seem like yesterday, but this is like a 90s, probably released in the 90s. Maybe not. No, 2006. I'm terrible at time. So, yeah, 2006. So, no, not even the 90s. I'm from the 70s, but anyways, it's not like a right off the block paranormal romance, but it still stands up for me anyways, and I think that they all do. So anyways, Hunger Like No Other by Kresley Cole, I would highly recommend if you're into paranormal romance, which I have a super soft spot for paranormal romance when it's good and done right for me. And Kresley Cole can do no wrong in that department. I did read some of her other books. I forget, the Sutherland Brothers, or I don't know. I think there's 3 books. 2 books? I forget. I read those, and I read her Mafia Brother ones, or whatever they are. And I really like those, but my favorite is her Immortal After Dark, for sure. For sure. So, anyways, I'm going to finish off my coffee. It's probably lukewarm now. And I just wanted to talk about that. So, anyways, peace, love, and happiness today and every single day. Please like, share, and subscribe if you so choose. But if not, that's okay too. I still love ya. I still want all the happiness in the world for each and every one of you out there. I certainly do. I really, really honest and truly do. Yes, I do. So, all right, guys. Well, with that, I'm going to say have a good night or have a good morning. And I might see you tomorrow. Bye. Bloop.